Before we get into today's episode, I want to take time out to give credit where credit is due. I want to give props to the program that helped me get where I am today. There would not be a tech job, Tina, here talking to you about how she went from being an SDR to an AE in 8 months without this program. That program is Course Careers. It's a self-paced, affordable course that you can take to help you get into an entry-level tech role. Now, I took tech sales and I never looked back. But hey, maybe tech sales is not for you. That's okay. They got other entry level tech roles that you can choose from, all at a very affordable price. And I'll even help you make it even more affordable by giving you my discount code link so you can take an additional $50 off of any course that they offer. And they also have payment plans available. So for those of you on the fence looking for a way to break into tech, I am a walking, breathing testimony that it works. So get off that fence and go get your tech job. Peace. What's going on, guys? It's your girl Tech Job Tina signing in for another episode. Today's episode, man, we're going to look at some content together that I discovered. And then we're going to get into a little bit of news, okay? So the content that I've recently stumbled upon, it just showed up in my YouTube algorithm, is a young lady that lives in the Bay Area of California. She makes $300,000 a year and she is struggling, right? So, of course, everybody around her is like, how in the hell can you be struggling on $300,000? So she proceeds to break down her paycheck and she goes through the deductions and the taxes and the explanations as to why she is struggling. So I want to share that video with you. It was very interesting and it's going to lead into the next topic that I kind of want to get into after that video. So I'm going to share my screen with you and let's check out this video. It's only a few minutes long and we may not even do the whole video. So let's go.
How much money do I really get in each of my paycheck? And what is it before tax and after tax? And what are the deductions and the itemized things that need to be taken out of that paycheck every single time? And how much of it is left to send to me? And because I receive a lot of questions in my comments about like, oh, what happened to your budget? Like, how is it that you're making 300K a year and you're still suffering, struggling in the US? Like, what's wrong with you? So I figured I want to do an episode on my paycheck breakdowns of this topic, so that I'm hoping to answer most of your questions on that front. My next episode, I will do a budgeting overview, basically my expense overview, like how much money I'm spending on every single one of the item, like daycare, preschool, rents, things like that, cars, things like that in my next video, because I don't have limited time today. So before further ado, let's dive right into this. So I'm not going to share my screen on my actual paycheck because that's a lot of like sensitive information. So I'm just going to read out loud a lot of the numbers while I look at it, but you would just be seeing my face. I'm going to screen share my paycheck. Hope you can understand. Okay, so I'm looking at my most recent paycheck from pay period April 21st to May 4th. And my gross pay is $7,692.31. And there's a pre-tax deductions of $982.98. And there's employee taxes of $1,726.32. And there's post-tax deductions of $369. I think that's for my pet insurance. And the net pay I receive, which is the amount that I receive in my bank account, is $4,979.32. So my gross pay original number is $7,692, and my net pay is $4,979.32. Okay, and my year-to-date number is, the gross pay is the gross pay is $134,521, $134,521.85 gross pay year to date. So it's like, if you see this, you'll be like, well, that's like a lot of money just for the first half of the day already. It's like over 134K. But there's a pre-tax deduction of over 11K, and employee taxes. Okay, employee taxes that I have paid this year is 38K, $38K, and there's a post-tax deductions of $23,036. And my net pay, so out of all that 134K, my net pay is 61K, $953. So it's like less than half. It's like 40% or something of my gross pay.
So let me stop that right there. All right. So as you heard, she's running down her money and everything. So after all the deductions, every month sounds like she makes like $99.58. So because the $4,000 number, of course, that she said she gets paid every 2 weeks. So for the month, she's bringing home $99.58 is what she's actually bringing in, right? And you notice when she was running down the taxes, she's only getting 40% of her salary, right? She's been getting hit. It's like death by 1,000 cuts on the taxes because we're taxed from so many different things. The government will give things all these fancy names, but at the end of the day, they're all taxes, right? So she's getting knocked upside the head with taxes, right? So let's get back into it.
And okay, what else? So basically, my employee taxes is like a combination of OASDI, Medicare, federal withholding, state tax, CASDI. There's like 5 items under the employee taxes. And my pre-tax deductions include 401k, dental, medical, vision amounts. So 4 items for pre-tax deductions. My post-tax deductions are pet insurance, so pet insurance, and also there's RSU offset, which is taxes paid on what withheld on RSU stocks. Yeah, so there'll be a high-level breakdown of.
You notice that pause that she did? She's kind of looking back over all those deductions, and you can see the look on her face. She's like, damn, man, I'm getting killing my paycheck. That was the look on her face in those few seconds right there. And she's right. This is ridiculous.
How much am I supposed to get gross pay, like before all the deductions and after all the deductions? And you see it's like about 40% of the original gross pay. So if, let's say, my annual package is 300K, the most I can get is 40% of that. So it's about, like 120K or something. Yeah, which is about right. So it's about 10K in a month. So my actual paycheck is about 10K a month. The money that I get in my bank account. And to be honest, my annual package of 300K is, so it's broken down into like salary, bonus, and RSUs, where my base salary is 200K. My bonus, my targeted bonus is 10%. So at most, I'll get 10% of my base salary as a bonus, which is 20K. But that would be at the most. If the company is not doing well, like if the market performance is not good, which is the current case, stock performance is really bad currently. So we get way less than that targeted bonus. So maybe like 3% or something like that. You can consider it as like almost negligible. And the other 80K is supposed to be the RSUs, which has depreciated significantly this past 2 years. So the original package amount that I got was 80K RSUs. Now it has depreciated to be, I think, less than half. So maybe like 40K, let's say 40K at the most. So the real kind of value that I get, the real money that I get each year is about 250K these days because of all the, poor market performance combined. So yeah, so to be honest, every single month, the money that I get in my bank account is about 10K. Okay. You might still say, okay, that's like a lot of money. income every single month. 10K is like you can buy a lot of things with it already. You can live a good quality of living already. But without kids, that's like a beautiful life, right? Without kids. But do take into consideration, I have 2 kids and a dog, a big dog, golden retriever at home that I need to take care of and support. And I do have a husband, but he is a small business owner, and these days, his business is not doing very well. So you can consider him as like, not contributing as much to the household income. So 10K is like kind of our household income. And um, before I have like the actual numbers of how much we spend every single month, at a high level, these are the items that are major expenses for us. My 2 kids' daycare expenses. My daughter goes to preschool, which is $2,080 a month, and my son goes to the family daycare, which is about $2,500 a month. So that is $4,500, about 4,500, and our monthly rent is about 3,000. So do the math. So 45 plus.
All right, so let me pause that right there, right? All right, so she did the rundown on her biggest expenses, right? So after taxes on the monthly, looks like she's bringing in exactly $99.58. She rounded it to 10, but based on the number she was saying, it calculates to about $99.58 for the month, right? So she's got 2 kids, and they're both in school or daycare or whatever, right? The first one, she's paying $2,080 a month for the first kid, right? The second kid, she's paying $2,500 a month for that one, right? Then when you factor in the rent, her rent's $3,000 a month, right? That leaves her with $2,378 a month. We have not gotten into what her utility costs are. We have not gotten into transportation costs. We have not gotten into food and incidentals and everything else, right? Just those 3 numbers alone, I can see why she is struggling, right? I mean, those daycare costs are crazy. Is this what y'all out here in these streets paying for these kids to go to daycare? I mean, me and my husband don't have kids, but if this is what they cost, we're gonna leave them little jokers where they at. I mean, good God, that's like $5,000 a month just for the kids to go to daycare or preschool or whatever they're in, right? That's ridiculous. And then, of course, $3,000 for the rent. But she lives in the Bay Area, so we all know that California rent is ridiculous, right? So let's get back into it.
30, that's like $7,500 a month off already, just on my kids' daycare cost and my and our rental expense, and we are left with about 25K. No, 2,500 for the month to cover other expenses, and that's not to include the cars expense on cars and groceries, eat outs, things like that. So I would do a more detailed breakdown of the monthly expenses next time when I have the actual numbers pulled out, but these are the major expenses on top of my head already. And if you're asking, okay, you're making 300K a month, 300K a year package, why you're still suffering? Here is why we're still suffering in the Bay Area with the 300K income. A lot of it is first, a lot of this has depreciated, and second, all the tax deductions, pre-tax deductions, taxes, and post-tax deductions are already taking about 60% off of my gross pay. So even if I make 200K salary a year, the amount that I get after all these, deductions is about 40% of that. So it's about 80K that arrives in my pocket. That's like available for spending every single year. So 80K, a family of 4 and a dog living on 80K, cash a year in the Bay Area is quite tight, I would say. Yeah, so what do you think?
All right. So I'm going to stop it right there. Daycare and housing eating up the income, right? So the first thing people think is, well, why don't you move, right? Why don't you move? So maybe for whatever reason, hey, it sounds easier said than done, right? Yeah, that would probably handle a lot of their problems, especially we live in a day and age where remote work is prevalent. And this young lady, she does work in tech. So that's why I actually covered this content, because she works in tech. She makes great, great income, but living expenses, being taxed 1,000 ways a Sunday, all of these outside things are eating up her income. And she feels like she's making peanuts because everything is just costing ridiculously too much, right? So let's play around with that a little bit. She's in the Bay Area. She's in California. Imagine if she moved to a city where the cost of living was way less, right? She's in a 2-bedroom apartment paying $3,000 a month. Imagine if she moved to a city where the rent for the same size apartment was $1,500 a month. She would immediately feel the impact of those savings, right? Being able to save $1,500 a month, you're going to feel that, right? It's going to feel pretty good, right? I would also imagine that if she moves to a place where the cost of living is lower, the cost of daycare, preschool, or wherever her kids go would probably also drop as well. So that's some additional savings, right? And then depending on what state she chooses to move to, you probably can save on taxes. We do have some states where there is no state tax, right? So that's another possible savings. So yeah, moving could be a big help for her, provided that she works remote work. I know she works in tech, but I don't know if it's remote, right? So this leads me into my next point. With remote work being so prevalent, if you were working a remote job and you wanted to save, or would you move? Even if that meant going to a place that was a smaller city, you work remotely, you can live wherever you want, right? Would you leave the place you're at and go live in a smaller town that will allow you to save money, that will allow your high income to go a lot further because the cost of living is lower? Would you move? I'm going to tell you my take. If it was up to me, I would be living somewhere like Mexico or Thailand or Panama, somewhere where I'm a rock's throw from the beach and my rent is $500 a month. That would be what I would be doing. But it's not just up to me. I'm married and my husband is not really that fond of the idea, right? So you always have those things that you have to contend with, right? So maybe she's in the same boat, and for whatever reason, they want to stay planted in the Bay Area. But I pose the question to you, right? You guys watching, if you work remotely, you have a great income, would you move, right? Did you know there are cities across the US that are paying remote workers to move to their cities, right? There's a list of them. We're going to get into that list. We're going to look through the list and ask yourself, man, if I was making a great income, would I take that money and move to that city? I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to go through the list right quick. All right. So here's the CNN article right here. The title is "These US Cities Will Pay You Up to $15,000 to Move." All right, so let's get into it and let's see what those cities are. I'm not going to read all the fluff. We're just going to get right to the list. Okay, the first city, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa Remote became the first program of its kind by offering remote workers and entrepreneurs $10,000 to move to the South Central U.S. city for 1 year. Since then, some 2,900 people have been accepted into the program, and as of December 2022, its members have generated nearly $307 million in direct employment income, according to the most recent Tulsa Remote Economic Impact Report. Now, I'm going to stop there. You might ask, well, why would these cities pay thousands of dollars for people to move to their cities? Why? Because they want the income, right? They want that revenue so that they can grow their cities. What happens when you live in a place, right? You spend money into it. You're going out, you're hanging out in the city, you're buying things, you're contributing to the local economy, right? And then, of course, yeah, you have local taxes and things like that that are also contributing into the local economy. So this is why smaller cities, right, want people to move to their town so that they can get that increased revenue and grow the city. You cannot grow a city without people, right? All right, so let's finish this on Tulsa. All right, so let's see here. In addition, the program also generated an estimated new sales tax revenue of $2.5 million for Tulsa County and $3.1 million for the state of Oklahoma. We have also seen a strong multiplier effect of friends and family joining members in Tulsa, with the city gaining 3 residents for every 2 Tulsa remote program participants, right? So, of course, automatically, that's what's going to happen, right? Your family or your friends, they get wind that you're moving to a small city because you've been given a $10,000 incentive to move, right? It piques their curiosity, right? So of course, what's going to happen once you get moved up there and you get settled in, they want to come and visit, right? They want to go and see, okay, is this really on the up and up? You got this $10,000 to move to this city. Let me go visit and see what it's all about, right? So what happens? Your friends come and visit, your family come and visit, and maybe they look around and they say, okay, this is all right here. They paid you $10,000 to move here. And the next thing you know, what? Now your friends and your family are also moving so they can get that incentive, and they're moving there to be where you are, right? So it's a win-win for the city. It's a win-win for you because you're saving money, right? So let's get into it. So that was Tulsa. So let's go to the next city. The next city that we have is West Virginia. And I believe West Virginia has more than one city in the state that they're actually paying. So let's see here. Ascend West Virginia is a public-private initiative with an impressive pedigree. Its founders are West Virginia native Brad D. Smith, former CEO of software company Intuit, and his wife, Alice. Now in its third year, the program provides eligible recipients, sometimes known as ascenders, with a $12,000 cash incentive, $10,000 the first year, and additional $2,000 the second, as well as outdoorsy perks like free passes for rock climbing, zip lining, and golf to explore West Virginia's rugged landscapes, as well as access to free co-working spaces. The full relocation package is valued at more than $20,000. And to date, more than 42,500 applications have been received, according to a spokesperson. Applicants can choose from a diverse range of Ascend communities, from the small mountain town vibes of the Greenbrier Valley to outdoor adventure galore in the country's newest national park, New River Gorge, which also is the most recent community to the program. With an impressive 96.5% retention rate across the program, in addition, organizers have submitted a funding request to the state legislature to expand the program so there could be even more participating communities in the future. All right, so that's West Virginia. Two or three places there that you can move and get paid, right? Next in line, Indiana. Indiana has been one of the most ambitious states when it comes to enticing a new wave of workers with financial relocation packages and perks. Dozens of cities and regions have an incentive package in place, according to Make My Move, and as of 2023, some 340 households have relocated to Indiana through the platform. Hopeful Hoosiers have plenty to choose from for their new home. A package valued at $15,000 in Noblesville is a suburb of Indianapolis. It includes a $5,000 relocation grant, a season of free golf at 2 courses, and coffee with the mayor. In Evansville, meanwhile, qualified applicants can take advantage of $7,200 incentive that includes $5,000 in cash, museum passes, and a 1-year membership to the oldest urban old growth forest in the U.S., right? So that's Indiana. The next one, Topeka, Kansas. Let's see, offering applicants up to $15,000 in incentives via employer match funding. Since then, more than 6,000 people have applied, with nearly 150 lucky newcomers chosen to move to the Sunflower State. It says Topeka doesn't just focus on remote workers, transitioning veterans, people who have recently left military service, and boomerangs, which are former residents of the Topeka area looking to return to Shawnee County. They're all eligible for $5,000 in direct incentives if they accept a job offer in Topeka with a minimum salary of $50,000. Recipients are required to remain for at least 1 year, but an impressive 95% of them stay for the long term, according to Robert Ross, a senior VP of marketing and communications with Go Topeka, the economic development agency in Shawnee County that administers the program. People love how accessible and friendly our community is, Ross told CNN. With around 175,000 residents in Topeka, the city is very easy to navigate, and recipients quickly learn that Midwest nice is a way of life here, right? Keeping it moving. We got more, right? Kentucky. All right. Let's see here. According to Make My Move, there are 8 cities and towns currently recruiting new workers. The $8,800 package to relocate to Mayfield and Graves County includes $5,000 cash, as well as plenty of other perks, 50% off after school childcare. Now, this would have helped my girl in the Bay Area, right? That 50% off after school childcare, right? That would have came in clutch for her, right? Lunch with the mayor, and a free monthly delivery of eggs, just to name a few. Several cities also include a $2,500 bonus on top of the $5,000 cash for workers who bring a spouse who will work locally in healthcare or education. You see what they're doing? They're trying to form their city. They want quality residents in their city, right? And you notice they all had an application process. You have to qualify, right? I can guarantee you they do. If you broke, they don't want broke people moving into their city. They want people that can contribute to society. So I guarantee you on those applications, part of the qualifications is how much money you making. Because if you're not making a certain amount or better, they're not going to accept you into their city, right? Why would they? It makes total sense. If you want people with good incomes that can help your city flourish, right? So it makes total sense to me. So let's keep it moving. The Shoals, Alabama. Wow, that's pretty. All right, so let's see here. They call their program Remote Shoals. It offers qualified workers up to $10,000. The program launched in 2019 and received its fourth round of funding in 2022 for a total of $1 million in investment. As of February 2022, it had received 2,300 applications from all 50 states, as well as several from abroad, with participants coming from 22 different states. Eligible applicants must be self-employed or a full-time remote employee outside Colbert and Lauderdale counties. Here we go. Make $52,000 or more annually and relocate to the Shoals area within 6 months of being selected. That's that salary qualification right there. They said, nah, we don't want no brokies. We want you to be making enough money to contribute, into our economy, right? All right, so let's keep it moving to the next one. Rochester, New York. Remote workers who aren't interested in taking a bite of the Big Apple can look to Rochester. The Greater ROC Remote Program offers $10,000 in grants and incentives, plus another $9,000 for home buying grants. The program, which was modeled after Tulsa's program and others, welcomed its first recipients in April of 2022. The goal is to bring in about 600 participants, not including family members, over the next 3 years. To be eligible, applicants must live more than 300 miles from downtown Rochester or in any other state except New York, have a fully remote job, and be 18 years or older. Applicants who have interviewed also are eligible to visit Rochester in person, with expenses of up to $500 and $750 per couple, which is reimbursable. Alaska. All right, so let's see here. The last frontier is the most sparsely populated state in the U.S., with the third smallest population, hovering at around 700,000 for the last decade. But instead of dangling cash incentives to potential residents out of state, Alaska instead provides those already within its borders with a yearly sum from its Permanent Fund Dividend, or PFD. The amount is variable every year depending on what the government provides, but in 2022, every resident received $3,284, the highest amount so far under the program. However, in 2023 and 2024, the figure dropped to $1,300. To be eligible for PFD, you must live in Alaska for a whole calendar year before applying. In addition, you should plan to remain there indefinitely. Other qualifying criteria also apply. Applications are open between January 1st and March 31st. So they're doing a little bit different. They're paying you to stay, right? So it's open up to its current residents, and they want to pay you some type of incentive to stay in Alaska. They don't want people to go, right? They talked about their population. Their population is the third smallest, and it's stagnant, right? So they cannot afford to have people leaving Alaska. So I'm going to give you a cash incentive hoping that you stay. So that's the way they're doing it, right? All right, so let's move on. We got Michigan. Prospective college students or recent grads in the Great Lakes State. Approximately 350 scholarships and internships are up for grabs in the Michigan Scholarship Program, which is designed to attract talent for the state's burgeoning electric vehicle, mobility, and semiconductor industries. The Euro program awards scholarships ranging from $5,000 to $10,000 to qualifying recipients who complete an internship and or accept a full-time position in industries including computing, electronics, software development, or process engineering. They're doing the same things. Like we want people here that make those good incomes. They got high incomes. They're going to spend money. Our economy is going to flourish, right? There are some stipulations, of course. The job or internship must come through a participating company, and recipients must commit to staying in Michigan for at least 12 months, so another one-year program. In addition, the program is curated. After being selected to join a cohort of qualified candidates, then they are brought into special opportunities to meet and greet with employers that then lead to either an internship opportunity or a job opportunity. So far, the program has awarded 62 scholarships, with 521 students currently participating in the cohort. The current initial phase will award up to 350 scholarships. And they say the program is growing. So yeah, man. So I'm going to stop this right here. So if you're working remotely and the city that you live in is taking advantage of your paycheck, right? You have options, right? You can look at programs like these that are paying people to move into their cities. There's also places around the world. If you want to move abroad, there are also places around the world that will pay you to move, to their locations as well. You don't have to stay in the States. There's plenty of programs like this abroad if that's what you want to do. Or even if it's not a program, you have plenty of places around the world that are very affordable. People are moving to places in Mexico. This is in Asia. So you got a lot of options, right? So I pose that question to you. If you get that remote job, you're making a lot of money, and maybe it's not going as far as you want it, would you move? Would you take advantage of one of these programs? Would you consider moving abroad? What would you do? Our girl in the Bay Area, man, if she was living in one of those cities that I just told you guys about, and one of them even give you a break on your child care and everything else, and they're small towns, so the cost of living is probably a lot less. I'm sure her 300K would go a lot further, or should I say her 250K, because some of it was actually in stocks. But even then, she would definitely feel the savings if she could move out of the Bay Area. And that's probably the case for a lot of us. I'm here in Atlanta. The cost of living here has skyrocketed since I've been here. I've been here for well over 10 years now, and I've definitely seen a lot of changes. I remember when I first moved here, me and my best friend shared a 2-bedroom apartment in a very nice gated community. Our rent was $950 a month. We split that down the middle, and we had plenty of money left over to do the things we wanted. Fast forward to today, that exact same apartment is $1,500 a month. So that's the name of the game. Prices are up everywhere. You just do what you can to try to save as much money as possible. So even if that means moving somewhere where the cost of living is better, then hey, maybe that's what you got to do. But yeah, I'm going to end this video right here. I hope you found this content entertaining, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Tech Job Tina out. Peace and blessings. Bye.